Disney is viewed by some as a magical, happy, and imaginative world. Although it has been around for the bulk of us for our whole lives, there have been numerous reports that reveal a less than ideal reality that belies the spotless reputation that Disney so vehemently defends. In this video, we examine some of the most prevalent claims made in relation to the murky side of the Mouse House. Our first theory is so ludicrously absurd that one may say it gives one the goosebumps. This claim, however, is more about what Walt Disney did after his death than it is about what he did during his lifetime, which gives the expression, Disney on Ice, a whole new meaning. One of the most widely accepted theories regarding where Disney's frozen body or head is currently kept is deep inside Disneyland, underneath the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Sometimes the rumor goes so far as to specify where Disney's frozen corpse or head is held. The fact that Walt Disney, the guy who started the business, was known for being an innovator who was captivated by the future and made things that appeared impossible conceivable lends credence to this notion. The Possibility of Immortality, a book written by Robert Ettinger, the leader of the cryogenics movement, was released in 1964. The idea of cryogenically freezing a person was mentioned in this book, indicating that it was a topic of conversation before Disney passed away and that it is conceivable that he was aware of it. In 1966, Walt Disney passed away. Ettinger passed away in 2011, and his body was later frozen together with the bodies of another 100 persons who had similarly hoped to be reanimated. According to PBS News, a reporter for a tabloid supposedly claimed to have peeped into the hospital where Walt Disney was a patient at the time of his death and seen a cryogenic metal cylinder in which he was hanging in the weeks after Disney's passing. The late Walt Disney died on December 15, 1966. There have repeatedly been rumors that he is likely to undergo an impending thawing around specific dates. The most recent defrosting date forecast was December 2021, which also happened to be the 55th anniversary of his passing. However, this date has passed without any notable updates. Even going so far as to claim that the name of the movie Frozen was chosen to ensure that the Google results for Disney and Frozen would be full of material on the film, demoting the conspiracy theories to a lower position in the results, is a step some individuals have taken. It is still unclear why Disney decided to postpone doing this until 2013, over 47 years after Walt Disney passed away. Regardless of your opinion, the fact remains that Walt Disney's body was cremated 2 days after he passed away and buried in an urn at Forest Lawn Memorial Cemetery in Glendale, California. Regardless matter whether you think the narrative is true or not, this is the case. The allegations have also been disputed by Walt Disney's family, whose daughter expressed skepticism over whether or not her father was even aware of the cryonics concept before his dying. Yet, conjecture has not simply been sparked by Walt Disney's passing. According to the following belief, if someone were to pass away while visiting a Disney theme park, the staff there would do all in their ability to hold off on notifying the authorities until after the victim had been taken to another location. This would help Disney maintain its reputation as a safe, lovable, and enjoyable destination. The child, then 15 years old, lost his balance while riding the Matterhorn attraction at Disneyland in 1964. And he tumbled out of the toboggan. As a result of his wounds, he passed away. He would be found unresponsive during the voyage, but 4 days later he would pass dead in the hospital. Yet, there have been a number of stories of sad deaths that have happened on Disney property, and in each of those reports, it was claimed that the victims had died at the area where they were found, making this particular scenario appear unlikely. As an example, a 48-year-old woman also passed away on the Matterhorn in 1984. She was on the track when the next toboggan that was passing through the ride struck her, according to witnesses. She would be identified as having died at the scene of the collision. A mooring cleat that had fallen loose from the Columbia sailing ship struck a man on the evening of Christmas Eve in 1998, killing him. In 2003, a 22-year-old guy lost his life while taking the Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. The mishap happened when, while traveling through a tunnel, a train car lost contact with the locomotive and derailed. He reportedly passed away at the site even though 10 other passengers suffered injuries. It appears that there is no cover-up going on because Cynthia Harris, who was the president of Disneyland Resort at the time, released a statement in which she acknowledged the disaster and offered her condolences. And finally, Deborah Stone's passing on July 8, 1974, is among the most notorious fatalities that took place at a Disney park. Deborah Stone was a member of the cast and employed by the now-defunct America Sings attraction at Disneyland. 6 theaters of the attraction rotated around a central stage that featured a variety of sceneries in a manner reminiscent of a merry-go-round. Stone had to stand to the left of the stage to fulfill her responsibilities as the attraction's hostess. In the beginning of the 24-minute performance, she was to welcome guests and then say them farewell. One night, Stone had the misfortune to be sandwiched between a moving wall and a still wall. Before she was discovered dead from being crushed to death, a visitor is said to have heard screaming coming from the walls. She was the first employee of the park to pass away there, according to the Los Angeles Times piece that broke the news of her death. Despite this, a hired worker eventually died in a hospital from an accident that happened at the resort after Stone had passed away. There are rumors that Stone still haunts the spot where she was killed and can be heard sternly telling people to be careful. This is perhaps because the incident was so terrible and significant in history. Even if they are really unpleasant, this list of catastrophes shows that the rumor in question is not even close to being accurate. I'm not familiar with the details that are listed on a person's death certificate indicating the place of their passing. I'm not sure if it really says the happiest location on Earth, though. Walt Disney was a significant figure in politics, business, and the arts. His influence had few bounds, making him the target of a wide range of interests and suspicions. Walt Disney was a significant figure in politics, business, and the arts. The following theory suggests that he was well known for his bird-like singing voice in addition to being an accomplished storyteller. Walt Disney allegedly spent almost 26 years as a secret informant for the FBI in Los Angeles, and some people contend that he compromised both his co-workers and his colleagues and associates. When a journalist by the name of Mark Elliott released an unofficial biography of Walt Disney in 1993, this knowledge was first made available to the wider audience. At that time, Elliott, who had acquired the FBI file on Disney through the Freedom of Information Act, gave a copy of it to the New York Times. The New York Times received this copy. The accuracy of the data gleaned from the aforementioned files has been attested to the New York Times. They were unable to corroborate individual identities that had been included in the file, though, due to the heavy redactions that had been made to the files. The documents state that Disney sent the Bureau information about the actions of people in Hollywood who were thought to have communist or subversive political ideas. The Times appeared to establish Disney's involvement with the LA Bureau as a covert informant from 1940 until his death in 1966. The records also state that Disney gave this information to the FBI. We do know that Walt Disney testified in front of the House of Un-American Activities Committee in 1947. When asked if he employed any people who he considered to be communists or fascists, he said, no, adding that he thought every single one of his employees was an American. During it, a question about whether he works with any people he considers to be communists or fascists was posed. He replied in the positive when asked if he had ever worked with someone he thought to be a communist. He would elaborate on his suspicion that communists were behind the strike that occurred in his studio, mentioning a few men in particular he thought were accountable. In addition, he lists a number of communist front groups that, in his opinion, have defamed him. Walt Disney was also given a special agent in charge contact designation by the FBI in 1954, or SAC contact for short. The New York Times reports that Disney received this classification, which is generally saved for a trustworthy source. Eliot's biography of Walt Disney, according to his wife Lillian and their daughter Diane, featured a significant number of factual errors, more than 150, to be exact. In their statement regarding the book, the Disneys also included a quote from William Webster, a former FBI director. The papers utilized to write the book, according to Webster, do not bolster the assertion that Disney was an FBI informant. The Disneys also supplied declarations from two other former agents who claimed that, to the best of their knowledge, neither Disney or any other time was an informant when they were employed with the agency. It is vital to note that the Disney family did not concur with a large number of the accusations made in Eliot's book, and this disagreement was not restricted to the claims made about Walt's affiliation with the FBI. Both of these remarks may be found in the statement. However, it was noted in the statement that just because Walt Disney was listed as a contact for the organization in FBI documents, it does not necessarily follow that he ever knew about it. This implies that he might have been assigned that label without being aware of it. The Disney family issued the statement. Walt Disney, J. Edgar Hoover, and the FBI undoubtedly had some sort of link, but calling the head of the House of Mouse a rat might be overstating the case. I think that some people simply find some of these claims to be too interesting to resist spreading them further. Unfortunately, it happens fairly often that individuals hear these things, believe them to be true, and continue to repeat them until they become a widely held opinion. This is problematic for a multitude of reasons, including the fact that there are numerous reasons for why it might be the case. Naturally, you are more than welcome to write a comment if you wish to form your own opinions regarding this subject.